Hey guys, we're back. My name is Bradley Sutton. I'm from Helium 10.
And I'm Tim Jordan from Private Label Legion.
You might remember us from Project X, where we took some products from zero to hero on the Amazon platform. Now, I hope you guys actually have done that in the last couple of years since we filmed Project X, because this is kind of like the second stage, and it's not Project X.
It is still a project though, and I know some of you might be disappointed that this is not another Amazon case study. We promise you this is information that's not been done before. It's very relevant to what's happening in the e-com world right now. It's going to be very valuable. This is a project though, Bradley, and it is Project W. Explain what that means.
Stands for Walmart, all right? So once you've started selling on Amazon, the next logical step is to start selling on Walmart. It's actually the second biggest marketplace in the United States. And a lot of people in the last couple of years during the pandemic, a lot of them, maybe their Amazon sales started slowing because they didn't have essential products and they couldn't even send inventory to Amazon. So like, oh my goodness, my sales stopped. I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket. And so they were moving to Walmart.
They were, and Walmart's also grown a lot in its capability infrastructure kind of at the same time. So it's great timing. It is perfectly applicable to be talking about Walmart right now, and we want to teach you as much as we can about it. Now, this is not a course. This is not a really, really hardcore deep dive into all the intricacies of Walmart. This is, much like Project X was, a case study. And in this piece of content, this information that we're going to share with you over multiple episodes, we're going to show you potentially how simple it is to transfer your Amazon products directly to Walmart. All right, Bradley, so what's your experience been selling on Walmart.com the past year or so?
Actually, not that much. I don't really have that much experience on Walmart. And now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm not sure if I'm the right person for a Walmart case study.
Well, that's going to present a problem. Let's try this.
Hi everybody, I'm Carrie Miller and I'm the brand evangelist at Helium10forwalmart.com, and I'm also an e-commerce seller and I sell products on Walmart.com. I'm really excited to take you on this journey with Project W with Tim, and let's get started.
All right, so if you're watching this and wondering why we're focusing on Walmart.com, we want to explain some of that to you. There are so many opportunities to expand your sales and expand your reach online when you're selling your product or your brand. And frankly, we can't do them all. There are just too many. There's too many shiny objects out there that we can chase. We won't get anything done. We can't focus on one. And we have to start picking where we're going to set our focus. We believe that Walmart's a great opportunity for a lot of reasons. So, Carrie, we know that Walmart has grown recently in the past year or so. Explain where they're positioned at now in the hierarchy of marketplaces.
That's a really good, question that a lot of people ask is there even opportunity on this marketplace? And the answer is definitely yes. It's the number 2 marketplace after Amazon. It actually beat out eBay even. So it's definitely coming up in the ranks there.
Another thing that we have to ask ourselves when we're trying to determine where we're going to kind of spread our presence online is, where is the lowest hanging fruit? And one of those things that we have to consider is how much energy and effort and education it takes to actually sell. When we go from a marketplace like Amazon to another marketplace like Walmart, there are a lot of similarities that make that transition much smoother. So we're thinking about areas that we can transition to. Going from a marketplace to a marketplace gives us a familiar concept to follow.
Yeah, and Walmart.com is growing massively, so it's a really good time to get in there. In 2020, because of COVID and everything like that, it actually grew 79% in sales. I mean, that's massive, massive growth. There's just so much that is expanding on Walmart.com, and it's just a great opportunity right now.
And that 79% growth during the years of COVID, there's a few people that might say, oh, well, it was only because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But what people fail to realize is that the growth percentage, even the year or so leading up to COVID, was massive too. Walmart isn't just a reaction to COVID. It's a reaction to another marketplace doing what they need to do to make a big presence in the world and people actually going there and shopping. Now, Carrie, another great thing about Walmart is opportunity. And in my opinion, there are several big brands that are kind of asleep at the wheel right now and gives us an opportunity. So earlier you showed me an example of this can opener by the brand OXO that maybe is leaving some opportunity for the rest of us. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, this is a great brand, great products. And when I took a look at their listing, I was actually really shocked. And this is a common thread among a lot of big brands that I've seen all over Walmart. And it's basically these brands, they probably do these bulk uploads where they're just kind of getting everything up there on Walmart, and they'll have one or two photos, and then you have to scroll down and their content is just almost non-existent. There's very, very little details in there. So take a look at this OXO can opener, for example. These 3 photos do not tell any benefits of this particular product. This can opener is actually a really amazing can opener. I have one myself. It's super easy to use. It's smooth. The edges when you're done opening it are super smooth. And it's just literally the best can opener you can buy. But none of that is portrayed in any of these images. It's just 3 very plain and simple images. So a buyer who doesn't know the special benefits of this product won't be able to tell whether or not they should buy it by these images. And if I scroll down and take a look at the listing copy, it actually doesn't even match what the product is. So right here it says features: crushing ice, wear slicing, thick slice, thin slice, sliced vegetables, egg separator. None of that has anything to do with this particular can opener. So all of these features are incorrect. So third-party sellers really have a great opportunity to go in and beat a lot of these big brands, because third-party sellers are really great content creators. You know how to write listing copy. You know how to create photos and infographics that display how great your product is at the very top of the listing with the photos. So a lot of these brands, are not doing the best job at creating these listings. So it's really great opportunity and time for all the third-party sellers to get in there and just beat them out with great content, great photos.
But if you look at this same listing on Amazon, they've got an amazing listing. They've got a ton of sales, and they're one of the category leaders. So there is a potential to beat out the big brands in other places, including brick and mortar and on Amazon, on Walmart, because people aren't paying that much attention. Mm-hmm. Now, another thing that's really interesting about Walmart is a lot of people have product ideas. They have images, they have inventory of great products that they have essentially abandoned, right? They were selling on Amazon and maybe it got too competitive. Maybe there was too many people selling the same thing. Maybe the cost per click got too expensive and they thought, hey, maybe I should dial it back and not put so much pressure on trying to sell this listing specifically on Amazon. But that product may be perfect on Walmart.com, just like with the can opener, right? There's another example that you shared about a garlic press. And garlic press is a funny term in the e-commerce business because we all use it as like the perfect example of the product not to sell. But Carrie has something really cool to share and kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, so I actually was just curious because everybody uses the example of garlic press. If you've been in e-commerce for a little while, that's what everyone uses as a teaching example. Okay, so take a look at this garlic press here on Walmart.com, and I'm going to pull X-Ray by Helium 10. This is our Chrome extension tool that is extremely helpful. It's going to show you sales volume, and so it's going to give you really good insights into what these products are selling. So if we take a look at this product is selling about 1,400 units per month and a total of around 13,000 in revenue on Walmart.com. And we have a link actually on this tool that'll actually take you to the listing on Amazon. So you can actually compare the two, which is really helpful. So if I click on this, I'll take you to the listing here, and you can see that they're selling barely any garlic presses and actually 0 garlic presses on Amazon.com. So they're killing it on Walmart though. So it's definitely something to think about where you can actually get into markets that are really competitive right now and position yourself to be in a good place so that you are ahead of the competition.
Okay, so the next question that we all have to ask ourselves, is another marketplace good for our business, right? We're talking about the opportunity on Walmart, but is that opportunity specifically good for us, right? I will make this statement, and I firmly believe this. I believe that Walmart is an excellent place to start asserting your dominance and start positioning your products because it is kind of like the wild, wild west of e-commerce. Now, if I could go back in time to 2012 and start selling on Amazon with the knowledge that I have now, it'd be game over, right?
Yeah,
like everybody wants to go back to 2012. And although the sales volume, I would say overall, there are exceptions like this can opener that we just showed you. And although the sales volume on Walmart is a little bit lower than Amazon, I think that because it is this new frontier that we can go ahead and get started on as it continues to grow, it is worth putting our time, energy, and effort into. Now, I believe, Carrie, that we can't expect like a massive upturn in our business immediately. But by focusing our products and our energy and our efforts on Walmart, we can go ahead and start to get good placement, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really great position to be in where you're already ranking products in these really competitive categories and you didn't have to put in the effort and the massive amount of money that you normally would on other marketplaces and things like advertising and rank strategies. So it's definitely a really, really good time to position yourself well for the future. And for all those people who I've heard over the years saying, I wish I would have started on Amazon back then, well, here's your opportunity for this market to get in early.
Now, we're calling it the Wild Wild West and the frontier, but that doesn't mean that people aren't shopping there already. In fact, there's a lot of people on Walmart right now. Carrie, talk about these numbers.
Yeah, there's 120 million unique visitors per month, and Amazon's just over 200 million. So you can see that Walmart is steadily climbing in the unique visitors per month, and they're actually almost catching up to Amazon even. So it's definitely got a lot of eyes on it. There are a lot of people who shop on Walmart already that are moving online now that are not going into the store as much. So it's definitely one of those things where people will start buying on Walmart.com and then become repeat buyers as well.
And here's a really, really interesting fact. If we're at 120 million average monthly visitors for Walmart and 200 million on Amazon, that means that Walmart is a little over half of the volume. But check this out. We know that third-party sellers on Amazon create the majority of our competition. They are the thing that we're consistently fighting, right? We're trying to outrank our competitors. We're trying to outgame and outbrand our competitors. On Amazon, at the time of this filming, there's about 2.5 million sellers on Amazon.com. But there's only around 100,000 sellers on Walmart.com. So think of that math. 120 million visitors versus 200 million visitors. But 100,000 sellers versus 2.5 million sellers on Amazon. That means that there is much more traffic per seller on Walmart than there is on Amazon. And of course, as we're thinking about low-hanging fruit, we need to think about what's easy for us. The majority of us that are selling on Amazon.com are accustomed to selling on a marketplace. And a marketplace is this unique thing in e-commerce that has traffic, it has infrastructure, it has logistics and fulfillment, it has things that make it easy for us. When we think about the type of products that we're sourcing, we think about our staff or our teams, like we're accustomed to marketplaces. So being able to transition to another marketplace from a marketplace means that it could potentially be a much smoother transition than any other type of e-commerce selling that we can think of. So it could be potentially a lot of gain with not a whole lot of effort.
This is also really good. You know, it's a very minimal time and effort, but you can actually potentially get into some of these saturated markets and beat out the competition ahead of time with things like garlic presses or all these kind of really kitchen items that are always super, super saturated. You could potentially get in there and position yourself very, very well. So really that little time and effort that you think it's taking and you're not really sure could really blossom into something that's a multi-million-dollar opportunity. So keep that in mind in terms of how much effort this really is. It's not that much effort in the grand scheme of things because you have so much opportunity for these saturated markets and products that are in high demand. Also, there's just more people online than ever, especially since after COVID, people have continued that trend of shopping online. So it's really just going to keep on increasing in the numbers of unique visitors and visitors that are return visitors on a monthly basis that are going to be seeing your products.
So if we're going to learn about a marketplace, we have to start with the history. I remember back in about 2015 when I started selling, there was this great new opportunity called Jet.com, and everybody's talking about this amazing new marketplace. I tried to sell products on it, and frankly, it was a little bit of a dumpster fire. We did a lot of effort to get our products on there and really had no sales. But in 2016, something pretty crazy happened. What was that, Carrie?
Yeah, Walmart actually bought Jet.com. So it actually took Walmart on a different trajectory because before Walmart.com was just a marketplace where they were selling their own products. But then this kind of changed the path to now we're going to open up in a marketplace just like Amazon.com where third-party sellers can actually come in and sell products as well on the marketplace. So they actually took the infrastructure that Jet.com had set up so that they could implement it with Walmart.
Yeah, and I remember thinking this was a terrible acquisition because a couple years after that purchase, Jet.com disappeared. And now we see what was actually happening behind the scenes. Like Carrie said, they were taking all that framework and all that technology and building it into what we now know as Walmart.com. Now, Carrie, there's a few headaches, right? A few challenges that e-commerce sellers have, especially right now, selling online. And one of those is what?
Fulfillment actually is one of the biggest challenges that we've had right now. So when COVID hit in 2020, you noticed before that you would get stuff in a day or two. If you ordered it in and you said, I want it shipped to me in a day or 2 days, you would get that. However, they were so bombarded with orders that shipping times increased. And a lot of people actually got a little bit more patient with the shipping times. But as we've moved forward into the future, we still see these shipping times. They're a little bit slower because there's so much demand and it takes a lot more time to move these products around. The logistics, it's quite a big challenge for a lot of the big marketplaces.
Yeah, we look at Amazon.com, they've got the ability to rapidly ramp up their technology. But one thing that you can't ramp up as fast is physical infrastructure. And I think that that's one of the reasons that Walmart.com is such a huge potential opportunity for us. So if I look at what the slowdown is on most marketplaces, these fulfillment, I have to think about who has the potential and the capability to ramp up the fastest to continue feeding this cycle of fulfillment and shipping and warehousing and logistics and storage. So Carrie, I'm going to talk about two numbers, okay?
Okay.
One of them is 150.
Yep. And
the other number is 10,500. Now, if you and I hadn't talked about this already, would you know what those numbers meant?
I'd say most people probably don't know that.
Most people probably don't know what those numbers mean. Here are the numbers. 150 is about the number of fulfillment centers that Amazon has in the US. 150 fulfillment centers. 10,500 is roughly the number of Walmart stores in North America. Now, this is massively important to remember, because if we're thinking about the company that can support the growth that we need through their fulfillment, distribution, and logistic channels, we have to consider Walmart. Walmart has more square footage, more employees, more truck drivers, more parking lot space, more loading docks, more refrigerated storage than Amazon's ever thought about having. So if we think about someone that can catch up to this demand, it's going to be Walmart. I remember walking through Walmart not many years ago, and in the front of like all the Walmart supercenters, you would see little mom and pop stores, or you'd see a hair salon or a photography studio or a community bank. Now in most Walmart supercenters you walk in, it's just a blank wall with a few doors, and if you walk by one of those doors and it's open, you look inside and it's high-tech distribution centers, right? It's where they hold your click and pick up orders, right? Where people order stuff on their cell phone and pick it up, basically pulling up to the building. That's e-commerce. We look at some partnerships that are going on right now where local delivery drivers, like Uber drivers, in fact, are picking up e-commerce orders at Walmart and shipping them to your house. It's places where UPS and FedEx roll in, pick up inventory, and take it out to distribute or drop off inventory for local pickup. So we see that Walmart, and there's some other examples too with some different Project Glass and things like that where Walmart's making that transition. But my opinion is that Walmart has the biggest potential to grow in the fulfillment sector.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They've been doing this for years and years and years, and they are really good at making sure that customers get their products quickly and efficiently. So it's just a really, really good opportunity. And as we continue to think about growth opportunities, we also have to consider partnerships. Now, Walmart actually has a lot of really great partnerships, like with Google, Deliver, Shopify, and so many others. They really work well with a lot of different platforms. It's just going to make it even more efficient and with more opportunities to grow and expand.
I consider this having a larger sandbox, right? We know that we need things like traffic and distribution and cross-marketing opportunities and audience acquisition. So the way that Walmart is handling partnerships on a massive scale with some of the biggest players in the game, it continues to excite me because Walmart shows us time and time again that they are set up to scale exceptionally fast and do it the right way.
Definitely. Okay, so if we're thinking about growth opportunities and whether or not we think that Walmart.com is a good potential fit for us, we should talk about some things that Amazon and Walmart have in common, because there are quite a few things that they do have in common. So no one should be completely overwhelmed and scared to start selling on Walmart.com, because there is quite a bit that is in common. The first thing is existing traffic. There are people already shopping on Walmart.com, loyal customers who love to go shop on that site. So people are there and ready to buy the products that you have to offer.
And that just means that it's easy for you to scale your business. So many people for many, many years built traditional websites where they had to generate their own traffic, and that was tough. So having that existing traffic is massively important. The other thing I love about Walmart that's in common with Amazon is that they are a search engine. All right, Walmart by the function, Walmart.com is a search engine, meaning people type in keywords and they have an algorithm that produces results, and those results are the listings. That makes it fairly simple for marketplace sellers like us to understand how to do things like optimize search and optimize our listings and increase rank, because we understand the relationship between a marketplace and keywords and how those relate to the products. Now, another thing that we have to think about when we're transitioning potentially to marketplace is content. Now, I've spent a lot of time and effort learning how to create content on Amazon. One thing I love about transitioning to Walmart is the content that you would use on Walmart. It's not exactly the same, but it's fairly similar, right?
Yeah, Walmart, the thing about Walmart, and this is something that I think Amazon sellers are already learning, although Amazon is very SEO focused, so you do see quite a bit of keyword stuffing and things there. Walmart does have SEO, but they're also really concerned about the actual customer experience and what they're actually reading. So you've got to optimize for SEO, but also make sure that the customers are actually going to want to purchase what it is that you want to sell. So they're not going to be confused by a keyword stuffed title or all this kind of jamming in keywords. They're actually wanting the experience to be very to the point. What does this product offer? What is it going to benefit the customers? So it's similar in many ways, but there are some differences which are not hard to learn, because you've already learned on Amazon.com that you need to create quality content that customers are going to be incentivized to buy, because you can't just optimize in terms of a computer, because people are the ones that are buying. And that's what Walmart really wants to get across, is that people are buying this. And so it's really not a different experience than what people are already doing and already have figured out on Amazon.com.
Another similarity is the focus on customer service. This is something that's actually a benefit for us long term, because if marketplaces continue to focus on customer service, customers will keep coming back. So just like Amazon focuses on it, Walmart is actually, I would almost say, even more focused on it. They put higher priority on customer service to make sure that that experience is good, whether it's, like Carrie just said, making sure the listings are accurate and focused and to the point, not keyword stuffed, all the way to customer fulfillment obligations and making sure everybody's happy with the products. Another similarity between Amazon and Walmart is they have built ways in which you can get your products fulfilled to the customers without you having to box and tape and label every single package. That was one of the biggest hurdles or biggest moats to people getting into e-commerce. They had to fulfill their products. But with marketplaces like Amazon and Walmart, they have things like FBA, or with Walmart, it's Walmart Fulfillment Services, WFS, we'll talk about that later. Walmart even has partnerships with places like Deliver that will allow you to send your inventory elsewhere and get all of that packaging and shipping and fulfillment done externally so that you can scale faster without having to build a big team to do that.
Another very important similarity is that legitimate sales drive ranking and success on Walmart and on Amazon. So it's the same kind of idea as, the more that you convert, the more legitimate sales that you can get, the better that you're going to do in your ranking. So conversion is really key for your ranking and success on Walmart.
That just means that the same things that we have to learn and understand and kind of coach ourselves to do on one marketplace work also on the other marketplace. So it's not a big stretch of the imagination to figure out that if we can do it on one, we can also do it on the other one. All right, so we've talked about some of the similarities between Amazon and Walmart. We also have to talk about some of the differences. And it doesn't mean that any of these are good or bad. They're just things that you need to be aware of to understand how this marketplace works. Now, on Project X, Bradley and I talked about how somebody that's never sold on an e-commerce platform at all could find their first product, get it sourced, and launch it on Amazon. Walmart.com doesn't quite work that way.
The way that it works on Walmart is you actually have to be established as a seller on other platforms before you can start selling on Walmart. That doesn't mean you could never do that, but as of right now, if you don't have any sales, then this is not the place to get started on Walmart.com. They want to see established brands that have a reputation of great customer service and a really good amount of sales. So they're going to take a look at all of these things when you actually apply to sell on Walmart.com. So they have much stricter onboarding. The whole process is a little bit more difficult. You have to have all your ducks in a row before you apply. So just keep that in mind, and it's definitely not something to discourage you. It's just a new opportunity for you to improve yourself, make sure all your ratings and everything are really good on other platforms so that you can easily transition over to Walmart.
Here's another thing I love about Walmart.com. You don't have to pay any seller fees until you start selling. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people selling on Amazon.com, maybe their first product, where they want to open up a Seller Central account and they want to start poking around the platform and they want to start setting up listings and they want to set their shipments up to start inbounding inventory. And they're paying a monthly fee without any sales. Walmart lets sellers get on and start poking around and setting up shipments and doing all the things we have to do, but you don't actually have to start paying a seller's fee until your first sale. So another difference in Walmart and Amazon is the place that traffic is coming from. Now, we talked about the difference in traffic volume, right? The 120 million versus the 200 million. But the location of these people coming onto the platform is very different. Amazon does a great job of curating their own buyers, right? Walmart is working with external traffic sources like Google, social media platforms. They've even just launched a partnership to help fulfillment services merge with HomeDepot.com. We'll show you some examples later about how even Google traffic is more tailored and focused towards Walmart, but it's just really, really good to be aware of where this traffic is coming from so that when we do launch, we understand how to get that conversion and get those sales going on our listings.
Something else that's different is Walmart actually has in-store pickup. So definitely a great perk, but definitely different from Amazon because they don't have brick and mortar stores.
Yeah, something Amazon physically cannot do. Another big difference between the two platforms is the way that they prioritize ranking with the listings, all right? And what I mean by that is you optimize your listings in two different ways. There are some similarities, but this is also a pretty big difference. Amazon focuses more on things like SEO, so search engine optimization or listing optimization specific to keywords, so SEO and conversions. They place that as a very, very high priority component to where your listing is going to show up in results for a specific keyword. Walmart doesn't care quite as much about that, but they put more focus and prioritization on quality of your listing, right? So just a simple example, you could look at an Amazon listings and see where even experienced sellers are trying to stuff a few more keywords into that title, where Walmart says, we don't care as much about that. We want this to be a user-friendly experience. So they've completely changed the requirements of how we even set up our listings to focus on quality above those other things we just mentioned.
Walmart also has something different than Amazon, and that is they have a really great listing quality score tool. And that you can go and check on a daily, weekly, whatever basis that you want to. So you can optimize your listings. And they literally tell you, it'll step by step tell you what you need to do in order for your product to be better optimized, which honestly, I would have loved to see this on other platforms that is as efficient as Walmart.com. They've done a great job with their listing quality score. So I go in there all the time and I go update attributes so that people can actually find your product. So they're basically changing things and updating them constantly so that people can find your products easier. And that's just a great tool to have.
It's nice that you don't have to guess what the algorithm wants in your listing. They literally tell us, and that's very unique to the Walmart platform. Another difference between Walmart and Amazon is that Walmart doesn't have the global presence that Amazon does. Seems like every 6 months, Amazon announces another marketplace opening in a different part of the world. That's all well and great. Just telling you differences, not saying it's good or bad, but Walmart is specifically focused on North America right now.
Also, Walmart gives you the potential to actually have your products in their brick and mortar stores. Now, Amazon doesn't have brick and mortar stores, so that's not a potential possibility. But even if you're maybe, you have some e-commerce products and you wanted to just, cold call Walmart.com and say, or just Walmart in general and say, hey, Walmart, I want to put my products in your stores. They're actually going to tell you that you need to sell on Walmart.com first. And if you do well, then that's when they start to look at whether or not your product has potential to hit their stores, which it's an incredible opportunity. And it's just different than Amazon, but definitely some potential there that doesn't exist on other marketplaces.
All right, so we've talked a lot about what the Walmart marketplace is, but we haven't talked about if it's necessarily a good fit for your business. And honestly, Carrie and I can't answer that for you. What we can do is give you a list of questions and start thinking about yourselves to figure out if it's a good fit for you right now.
The first thing you need to do is decide whether or not you want to take the risk in time. So some of you might be extremely busy or not, but do you think that this could potentially pay off in the long run?
We've talked about moving to Walmart.com if you're already an existing seller, which you must be, isn't necessarily very expensive. There's not a lot of stuff that you have to put out there, a lot of resources, but that time is one. And if you're already completely bogged down in other operations and other sales, make sure that you're going to take this seriously and be able to allocate a little bit of time. Another thing you have to figure out is if you're able to just set aside a little bit of inventory. Now, if you're just getting started and kind of dabbling on this marketplace, it doesn't mean that you need to take all of your Q4 inventory that you had allocated to other sales channels and dump them all on Walmart. No, but you are going to have to set some aside. It's completely pointless if you set up a Walmart account and optimize your listings and get everything all set up and start running traffic if you don't at least have a little bit of inventory set aside to make those sales.
You also need to decide if you are ready to learn and also be excited to learn about Walmart. There are some differences between Walmart and Amazon, although a lot of the basics are going to be helpful for you. There is a learning curve, and that's just with any marketplace that you're going to join. So whether or not you want to actually do that.
We see so many people that get excited, like Carrie said, about these opportunities, but if you don't take it seriously and allocate a part of your brain to figure this out and do it right, you're just going to get discouraged, and it's kind of a waste of your time. The other thing that you have to figure out is if you're ready to be positive and not negative. So many times we kind of equate our business success to our personal success. And when we take a little hit or we have a little stumble or we have a little hiccup on our business, we take it so seriously and it just beats us down and discourages us. As we continue to grow our businesses, we are going to have those hiccups. We're going to have little stumbles. And moving into a new marketplace, that's just going to happen. We're going to get frustrated because we can't figure something out. Walmart's platform is going to change a little bit and it's going to have to make us adjust our SOPs and learn something new. That's okay. But if you're going to take this Walmart thing seriously, you have to come into the positive attitude that's ready to learn, attitude that's not going to be immediately discouraged when you hit your first little challenge or your first little stumble.
That's a really good point because I actually talk to a lot of sellers, and the first thing that usually comes out of their mouth is all the negative things, or what if this happens, or what if that happens? Well, actually, there's so much more opportunity on the positive side than on the negative side, so focusing on those is so important. So you've also got to decide whether or not you have a new sense of excitement doing something new that could be something really big. I mean, every time I go onto Walmart.com and just play around with it and look at different things, I get excited because I'm like, this is an opportunity, and that's an opportunity, that's an opportunity. There's just so much that you can do. So just having that sense of excitement to do something new and to challenge yourself and go after some new goals.
So again, we told you we can't answer that question for you if it's the right time for your business, but these are some of the things that you need to be asking yourselves and maybe lead you on to that decision to make this plunge. So to review.
Yeah, so in this episode, we actually covered the history of Walmart, also the differences and similarities between Amazon and Walmart.com. And we also talked about what we're going to do in Project W as a kind of case study and how we're going to guide you through this whole process of transitioning and adding products to Walmart.com.
We talked a little bit about what a marketplace is and why the marketplaces are important. We talked about some of the questions you need to be asking yourself to figure out this is the right step for you. Now, if you want to review the show notes for this episode, or you can view the entire series and all the different resources we have at helium10.com/Project W. Now, episode 2 is coming up. Carrie, tell them what's on episode 2.
I'm really excited about this because so many people have tons of questions about this, and it's basically how to apply and get your account up and running on Walmart.com. So a lot of great information that you're going to want to hear.
And also some of the biggest stumbling blocks that people have. We've got a lot of really good information about how to get over some of these hurdles that a lot of people have stopped on. Really good stuff that, frankly, we haven't seen put out there in the ecosystem of e-commerce yet. So make sure to check in to episode 2 and get all that information. We'll see you guys there.
Bye.